Hi, I'm Wayne.
And I'm Pat Dunlap.
Welcome to another episode of Plan Your Escape TV, the travel show where you will learn secrets to travel the world for less than the cost of living at home. The Plan Your Escape TV show has a unique perspective of sharing great travel tips and unique bargain finding strategies so you will learn how to realize and afford your travel dreams. In our last episode, we showcased the beautiful Greek Isles and shared some essential travel tips.
We're very excited about the show today, and we're going to visit some of our favorite destinations, and we're going to give you valuable travel tips to help you plan your trip.
We also have a wonderful guest for you today, Elaine Masters, who will be sharing tips today how to get to where you're going feeling great. Oh, I'm so excited about talking to Elaine today. But before we do, we want to talk to you about some ways that you can realize your travel dreams.
We live in a great, big, beautiful world, and we're excited to get everyone out to see it, to have that feeling of adventure and freedom.
We've been very fortunate to see this world, and with the hundreds of travel tips that we have learned traveling to 100 countries, we're going to show you how nothing will stand between you and your travel dreams.
The way we started our own adventure was to create a list. I call it my dream list, Wayne calls it his bucket list, and it's really very exciting to do.
It is exciting to create a travel bucket list. In our upcoming bucket list section, we'll be talking to you about some of our dream locations and how we actually realize them. One of our places on the list was Italy. Italy has it all. Spectacular scenery, great food. Great food, yeah. And interesting people and fabulous history.
One of the items on my dream list was visiting Pisa. We were on a train coming from Paris to Venice when the conductor screamed out Pisa. Well, I turned to Wayne and asked, "Is this the Leaning Tower of Pisa?" He said, "Yes." I grabbed my bags and started running off the train, and luckily he followed me. When we were on the platform, I explained when I was a young girl, on the spaghetti jar, on the label was a Leaning Tower of Pisa. I told my family that someday I'm going to go there, and they all laughed. Well, this was my someday.
You know, on that day, I watched Pat's feet barely touch the ground as she achieved one of her travel dreams. On her trip to Italy, we visited Venice. It's a beautiful city, and it's become one of my favorite cities in the world. Venice has 150 canals, 400 bridges, and no cars. It is the world's only pedestrian city. Just like they did hundreds of years ago, they get around by boats and gondolas.
Venice is such a romantic city. We took a water bus around the Grand Canal, and it was breathtakingly beautiful. But my favorite was the gondola ride. We had this handsome guy in this beautiful striped shirt singing to us as he was taking us down these romantic little canals. It was just wonderful. Now Wayne, he's more of a history buff.
If you're a history buff like I am, you're going to love Venice. Venice controlled the Mediterranean for centuries and gave us this amazing city. The architecture is just beautiful and breathtaking, and it's rich in culture. Just wandering around the streets of Venice is a pure pleasure.
My favorite place in Italy is the Northern Lake District. It's just beautiful. The lakes, the quaint villages, and the beautiful villas. Did you know George Clooney has a villa there?
You know, Lake Como is a very special place. The best travel writers in the world have difficulties describing this place, but let me try. First of all, great food, and one wonderful villa, village, and garden after another to explore. We started our trip by staying in the stunning village of Bellagio. The beautiful Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas is modeled after this wonderful village.
And here's some great travel advice. We stayed across from Bellagio in the small, quaint village of Menaggio, where it has small little hotels that are less expensive and very family-run restaurants. It's beautiful. There's lots of nightlife, and it's right there on the ferry stop, so you can hop on and continue to see all the other gardens and villas around the lake.
You know, and we love visiting the gardens around Lake Como. The villas and gardens are beautiful and world famous. Above Bellagio, they have a whole hillside of trees that they brought in from all around the world.
I also love looking at some of the beautiful villages and villas around Lake Como. Let's take a look at some of the sights. traveling, you definitely want to get to your destination feeling great. It's such a big part of enjoying your traveling.
That is absolutely true. When you're traveling, you want to have fun and not worry about your health. That is why today we brought an expert to the show on the topic of arriving at your destination feeling great. Elaine Masters is a travel writer and yoga instructor, and she's the award-winning author of Drive Time Yoga and Fly Time Yoga. Elaine, welcome to Plan Your Escape.
Welcome.
Hey.
Thank you for having me.
When we were driving through Italy, through the Tuscany area, which is so beautiful, and all the little windy, curvy roads, after a while I started getting really stiff. Is there anything you recommend for that?
Absolutely, and I can just so imagine being there. And I grew up taking road trips. It's something I love to do. And when I moved to San Diego, I was so stressed out by the traffic here that I found I was getting into the car feeling great, but then I'd get to my destination and I was all cranky and stiff. So I had to find out ways to help myself, and I've adapted yoga moves, I've added some physical therapy moves and some breathing techniques to help you relax and feel good when you're behind the wheel or any place you might be sitting for a long time. And one of the biggest places that we hold our tension in is that lower back area. So one thing I love to share with people is secret stretch. You just imagine the tip of your tailbone and stretch it down into your seat. You just sit up and pull it down and then slightly forward. And right away you're starting to open up your lower lumbar region and bring some energy into that area. And then another thing you can do, especially if you have tension in through the shoulders and the neck, which a lot of us do, is to just take your hand when you can and put it to the bottom of your seat and then lean your ear to the opposite direction and pull down with that arm and then over with the other side of your head, and then come back, shake it out a little bit, and then do that on the other side because yoga is about balance. Those two things can help you a lot.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'm going to try that.
You know, I know you have some great suggestions for our viewers, how you can go on a long plane ride and still arrive feeling great. Can you share a few?
I'd love to. Surviving that middle seat is a real challenge sometimes, and especially when you're sitting in such a confined space. I don't care how big you are, you're stuck there for hours at a time. So we were designed to keep moving. You have to find ways to bring little moves into your body. You can take your hip region and just bring one hip back while the other hip comes forward, hold it for a few moments and do that again. And then I always recommend to avoid deep vein thrombosis. There's a whole host of things you can do, but one that's really important is to move your ankles and your feet and your lower legs to bring some blood flow into those areas. There's just a couple of the many suggestions that I have.
Those are good ideas. You know, when you're getting ready for a trip, there's always things that you get nervous about. Is there anything that you can prioritize to the top of your list to make sure you get done?
It's kind of counterintuitive because you have so much you have to do, but taking time out to take care of yourself is really important. And the best thing you can do is get some cardio exercise. Even if it's just taking a brisk walk for 20 minutes, say the 3 or 4 days before you get on your trip, and especially the day that you leave, so that your body's got more energy and oxygen in it and is a little bit more relaxed and better able to handle the stress of traveling. And that and getting some extra sleep, even a nap a couple times, is really a good idea.
You know, I have one more question. Is that, you know, when airlines have cut the options on food just dramatically, how do you fly and still eat healthy? How do you do that?
It is a challenge.
It is.
But again, a little bit of preparation. I love to bring a baggie or two of some things that I prepared at home, and especially having some protein snacks can help you again to handle the stress and to keep you from reaching for some snacks you might regret later. So I put some nuts and raisins, some dried fruit in one baggie. If I have time, I cut up some vegetables, and then I carry those with me. They're easy to get through security. They survive well in your luggage. And also, if you don't have time to get the vegetables, you can sometimes find cut vegetables at Starbucks these days.
Mm-hmm. That's something we do. We bring our snacks with us. It's really healthy and it's good for us, you know. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This was really informative.
I really appreciate you joining us here at Plan Your Escape.
It's been so fun. Thank you.
Well, if you want to learn more about Elaine's programs, you can go to her website, tripwellness.com. And I'm sure the tips that Elaine shared with us today will make a big difference in our travelers' experiences, just like the major travel tips that we have coming up next. Next, we have a couple of very helpful and powerful travel tips that will help you plan any trip, not only to help you save time and money, but make things a lot easier for you.
Our first travel tip is online bounce backs. And what this is, if you ever ordered shoes or a camera online and then didn't finish the order, you'll notice a couple of days later that you may have got some discounts trying to get you to reorder that item. Well, that works the same way for travel.
You know, marketing research has showed that less than 1% of the people ever go back to a website once they've left it. So they figure they've lost you. So why not offer a great deal to get you back? And this is how it works. Go to your normal booking websites to do your hotels, flights, and other travel-related items. Put in your times, put in your dates, and make sure you put in your email address. You must opt in to be able to get their communications. Well, then just log off and don't book anything.
We've had some amazing deals doing this. When we were going to New Zealand, we were trying to rent a car, and it was $60 a day. But by using the bounce backs, I waited a few days and we were able to get it for $19 a day. That's tremendous savings. And you can do the same thing on your hotel and airfare. It really works.
And you can save hundreds of dollars by using this tip. Now, internet bounce back offers don't work all the time, and sometimes they take a few days to get to you. But boy, they are worth a shot because of the amazing bargains you can get. Our second major travel tip today is using TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor is a wonderful website that you can make sure you can get the greatest deals on hotels. And this is how it works. When we're booking our hotels, we put two screens up on our computer. One is our booking website and the other one is TripAdvisor. So then we find this great deal on a hotel. But really, is it a great deal? How do you know? Take the name and put it into TripAdvisor and then start reading the user reviews. Now, I just always caution everyone because there's always going to be some people who are going to be negative. You can't please everybody. But if you see a lot of negativity, then that may not be the hotel for you. For example, when we stayed in Liechtenstein, we found this gorgeous little hotel right on the river, and we booked it. And gosh, we went out and explored the town, came back, went to sleep, and at midnight, the disco kicked in and played till 3 o'clock. Well, we sure wish we had checked TripAdvisor before doing so.
We should have. It would have told us.
Yes.
We gave you 2 great travel tips today that can be used for small trips or longer vacations.
Well, I'm sure that you can make great use of the travel tips that we have shared with you today, and we encourage you to keep tuning in to future shows. Our show is coming to an end today, and Pat and I would love to thank you for joining us today. And we'd like you to remember, this is a great, big, beautiful world, and there's lovely experiences to be had, and we can help you. Please share your concerns and your questions about travel, and we will be able to answer them in future shows.
Please visit our PlanYourEscapeTV.com website. It shows all the websites that we've talked about today. And if you can give us your comments, we would be happy to answer them because we love to make your travel dreams come true.
We just have one more last thing to say today.
See you on the road.